Dive into the world of data analysis with our comprehensive video on what-if analysis and solver in Excel. This tutorial is designed to guide you through the intricacies of these powerful tools, enabling you to make informed decisions based on complex data scenarios. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, our step-by-step approach ensures you'll gain valuable insights and practical skills. If you find this video helpful, consider showing your support by liking and subscribing to our channel for more content like this.
In this module, I want to show you how the what-if analysis tools work in Excel. I'm also going to show you how to use Solver. So first of all, what-if analysis, and the one I'm going to use, so this is the data tab. I'm going to use goal seek first of all, then we'll have a look at these other two. But goal seek, basically you have a formula here. You want to change one element that's created this result to see what the impact would be. So the first one's using the PMT function, which is a function that will tell you how much you need to pay on a loan, dependent on the interest rate and the number of payments and the value of the loan. NPR is a similar function in terms of number of payments, but you've still got the PMT and everything in there. It's just the other way around. This is just a formula option, so you can use it with a formula, and so is that one. You have to be doing goal seek on a result cell of a formula or function. So let's start on this one. 292 is what the PMT function says I would have to pay based on these criteria. But I want to change this payment to 350. So I want to pay more. If I pay more, how is it going to impact the number of payments? That's what I want to know. So let's trigger this one. Over to what if analysis, goal seek. So the set cell is already there, C4, to a value of minus 350 because it's a payment. And then you select the cell in this list of what you want to change. And I've said number of payments, so that's the one I want. So if I'm gonna pay more, obviously that's going to reduce, but by how many? I click OK. It's gone from 240 down to 165, quite a big reduction. I can cancel this off at the minute if I don't want to, or I can click OK. I'm going to click OK and leave it as that. Now this one, it says you want a profit of 56,000. At the moment, 48,000 is what you're showing. So either sales go up or costs go down. I'm going to say costs go down. Probably more control over that. So what if goal seek? So to a value of 56,000 by changing cell F2 in this case, clicking OK. So it's come down to 67 for you to get 56,000 profit. Clicking OK on that one. Now this one is number of payments. At the moment you're paying this loan off in 59 payments. You want to pay it off in 40 payments. How's that going to impact the amount of money you have to pay? The amount of money you have to pay. Let's have a look. Quite a lot, I would suggest. Goal seek. Number of payments down to minus 40 by changing cell the PMT cell, which is a payment. See what happens. It's on 425. It's gone up to 677, quite a jump. Clicking OK to that. Now this last one is starting on the yellow cell. You want to make a profit of 90,000 based on you selling tea and cakes at 550. How many do you need to sell to get 90,000? So here we go. What if goal seek? So you're setting the target cell of C15, the yellow cell, to a value of 90,000 by changing the blank cell C14, clicking OK to that, and then it will generate the answer. Click OK, widen the column a bit, double click. So I need 16,363 sales to make 90,000. Let's go seek. Now the next one is the scenario manager. So what I've got here is some names. I've named these cells. I think it's quite important that you do name these cells. So just to recap how to name, I'm just going to highlight all of this. Go to the formulas tab and use this create from selection option, which is going to use the left column labels, these, to name these cells. Clicking OK to that. And then if you click on these pink cells, you can see that it's called row cells with an underscore because there's a gap there. You can't have any spaces. So each of these cells are now named as per the label. Now to use the scenario manager, again, you're going back to the data tab at the top. what if analysis scenario manager. Now, I recommend that you do an actual scenario so you can get back to these figures. So I'm going add, and then I'm going to call this actual. You have to tell the scenario manager which information where the cells is going to change. It's these pink cells. You can't put formula cells in here. It has to be cells that are just typed. That's that one. And then I click OK. It will show me that data with the names. If I didn't name them, this would just say B2, B3, etc. So that's correct. That's as it is at the moment. I'm clicking OK. Now I'm going to add predicted sales. The change in cells stay the same. They stay the same. Clicking OK. Now I need to change the figures to these in these boxes. So predicted sales are going to be 112,000. Cost of sales is going to go up to 15,000. And then we've got utilities, not utilities, lease 12,000. Utilities is going up to 1,900. And operations is going up to 2,500. Those are the estimated increases. So now you have the scenario manager on the screen. If I click on predicted, you've got this button down the bottom that says show. What's the impact on the net profit? Show. So if those predicted figures are actuals, we're down to 80,000. Because I got you to do an actual, or I recommended you do an actual, you can quickly get back to those. If you want to, you can click on summary, select the net profit cell in this example, click OK, and it will generate a sheet to the left of where we were, giving you the comparison of the two scenarios, actual and predicted. Current values is whatever you was looking at, so you can just right click and delete that column. You don't really need that, it's a duplicate. Here, there you go. You've got little collapsible bars there to hide things out of the way if you want. That's the scenario demonstration. Data tables is the third one in that little list. What if? Data tables. Now, the scenario here is, or the picture I want to paint here is, this is a castle. You've worked out that you need £220,000 to break even based on an entrance fee of £9 and an average spend of £5. That works out at this number of visitors. What you want the data table feature to tell you is how many visitors would I need if I increase the price? Now I've got this color coded and you'll see why in a minute. When you lay this out, you have to have the top left-hand cell blank. The top right-hand cell has to have a formula equals D5 that links these two tables together. So these two yellow cells are linked with a formula. It won't work if you don't do that. Then you highlight the little table, all of it. You go over to what if and select data table. And it's asking you two questions. What is your row input cell and what is your column input cell? Our table is laid out in a column, so we don't have a row, we have a column input cell. Basically, is asking you which cell in this top table are these figures swapping places with. And I said I'd got it color coded, that's why. So it's that cell, the entrance fee. Now, when I click OK, this is going to reduce and that's going to be populated down here instantly. I'll click OK. And there you go. Now, once you've run this, you can change the outside parameters and it will recalculate for you like that. So if I charge £20 to get in, I only need that many people, and so on and so on. So you can do that. So that's the column option. The row option, if I go into the next sheet, is exactly the same. You have your data laid out in a row. So this is a shop spend. This cell equals that cell. That is crucial. And then you highlight that little table and get yourself into data tables. Data tables. This time you do have a row input cell. So basically it is which cell, which of these is swapping places. So which cell are these going to feed through? I've got it color coded. Look, so pink to pink. That is the cell they're going to swap through. And then you click OK and it drops it in the same way. And then you need to just widen the columns so you can see everything. So following the logic through, doing them both together, is like this. You do not have a blank cell. You just have the top left-hand cell as the formula that's linking the two together. You highlight that, and then you fill in the information. So data tables, you do have a row. This is your row input. It's going into that cell, color-coded, and a column input, the pink area is going into that. You click OK, and then it just drops it in like that. Now, when you click on these, this is an array formula look. You shouldn't really mess about with this, but as I've said before, you can mess about with the outside parameters. So I could change that 9 to 20. I could change that 5 to 10, and then it would impact the result, like so. So that's data tables. So that's the three basic ones that you get in what if analysis, but there's also an add-in that you can have, which I've added in already, which is called solver. Now to add solver, you need to go into file, right down to the bottom into options, and then where it says add-ins, click on add-ins, and then down the bottom you're going to click on go, and then you tick that on. Amongst others, you can tick all these on if you want, but you tick that on, then it will appear over there. Clicking OK to that. Now solver, if I just go on to the next one, solver is a bit more involved than the first three, I think it is anyhow. So at the top there, you've got some predicted or projected company expenditure for 2024, and that's what you've come up with. Your boss comes along and says you've only got 150,000, so you need to adjust this. Now this is just a very simplistic look at solver, but you'll get the idea. So I could manually go through this and reduce these figures, or I could get solver to do it for me and give it these parameters. I'm going to say that these three sectors, training, marketing and wages, cannot exceed 70 grand. So at the minute, they aren't. One of them is 70, but it's not exceeding it. These quarter totals cannot exceed 55. Now, one of them is, three of them aren't. Let's see what happens when you look at solver. So this is already set up. So I'll click on solver. And what I've done is I've set the target of 150,000 there. Now, this target cell is this cell. You must select that first, and I've got a value of. There's some other options there, max and min, you can select as well. But that's what I've set up at the top. Now the change in cells are where the information can either increase or decrease. That's the yellow cells. I've highlighted all the yellow cells. And then I've added a constraint. So that's the constraint. Cannot be over 70,000. These can't be over 70,000. And I've said it must be over 0, so it doesn't go on a negative on me. I don't want to be doing any negatives. And that is less than or equals to 55, which is this. Now when I click on solve, it will actually solve it. You can see there it's gone to 150,000. That's done it. And I've got the option here is to save this as a scenario if I want. Save as scenario, but I'm just going to click OK. And then I'm going to look at what it's done. So wages have been trashed, sort of. So you can't have that with wages. So I need to add another constraint. It cannot be over 70. So I'll do that again. Let's go into it. If I go back into solver and add a constraint. So I'm going to say wages, this line has got to be equal to, and then 17,000 I'm going to put. And then click OK. So you click add if you want to add another one, but I'm going to click OK because that's it. And then now I've added that extra constraint, see what happens. Solve. It's still managed to solve it. It's still got 150,000. Clicking OK. 17,000 times 4 is 68,000. So that hasn't broken that constraint. But it's now reducing the training and marketing, which, to be honest, are the two main areas in the business that get pressure when there's a squeeze on a budget. If you needed to add a constraint in you that you have to spend a certain amount, see, that's not even. You could do that. Likewise with training, but whatever you do, you've got to bear in mind that you've got constraints on this total column, and that's basically how solver works. Now, if I just do another little example here, this is, say it's a budget for a young person going away for the first time. They've worked everything out, all their fixed costs and everything. Food is the only one that's variable. They've got a budget of 10,000, but this is coming up as 12,000. So just going to see what solver comes up with here. So we've got it set to the correct cell, that's that cell there, to a value of 10,000. Changing cells, in this case, B2 to M8, that's all the white area plus the yellow. And then these are the fixed costs. These are the fixed costs, gas, electric, etc., water, they're fixed. So the only thing that's going to move here to get to 10,000 is the food money. So I'll click on solve, and then it will solve it. Gone down to 10,000, clicking OK to that. So from 450, it's gone down to 247.33 that they've got each month to spend. Far too much. So that's what solver is in a simplistic way. Now the last lookup or what if analysis feature I want to look at is the actual forecast feature. That's back to the data tab, and next to what if analysis, you've got a forecast sheet where it gives you best case, probable, and worst case trend lines. If I go into options, you can change some of these. You've got maybe seasonality. You might have holiday periods. There's two big dips in this anyhow. If this is probably like my data. I don't have any sort of trends. It's very hard for these sort of features to give me an idea. But if you're happy with all of this, you can just create it, and it will actually generate that chart for you. And then on a separate sheet, I'll just make that a bit smaller, not too small, but you can see it's actually put the figures in now, like so. So when you look at some of the forecast functions, they use some of these features as well. So that's the forecast sheet because that's sitting there and next to what if analysis. So that's it for what if analysis. Hopefully you found some of that useful. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for your time.